Hey, I'm Jono.
And I'm Ian, and we are Bike Gearheads.
And today we're going to be talking about the Cervélo R5, do a little bit of a long-term review on it, and run through what we like about it.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of time on this bike, and it is a pretty fast machine.
Fast, good climber.
Yep.
Good all-arounder for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. So where this fits in Cervélo's line is this is going to be in their performance road category. So they have a few categories. They have performance road, triathlon, performance off-road, and experiential. But this is like performance road, top of the line. Visa Melissa bike is on this bike. It's 1 grain tours. Like, this bike is a fast bike from Cervélo. They don't compromise anything. It has an aggressive geometry, race handling, and totally integrated. And this bike is specifically made to be very, very light. Even the paint on this bike is meant to be light.
Okay,
So,
nice.
Super light bike.
So this is the 4th generation of the R5. Let's dive a little deeper into its history.
Yeah, so this bike has been around for a long time in Cervélo's lineup. I mean, I think people can remember like the R5CA back in the day. That kind of put Cervélo on the map as far as their Project California bikes and stuff like that. But they've kept iterating on it, and they've kept making this bike better and better, more comfortable. Actually, this bike is designed to be a little less stiff than the previous iteration, which is interesting, but it makes it more compliant. It makes it easier to ride all day long while still maintaining its quickness, and it's also a little bit lighter than the previous generation. So it's not easy to make a bike lighter and more compliant. That's kind of tough.
All right, so it's definitely a lightweight climber's bike.
Yep.
What is the frame weight on this bike?
So this, in a size 56, this is a 54 back here, but in a size 56, it's 703 grams for the frame. Yeah, and then the fork is 329 grams, so it's coming in at just over a kilogram. So, you know, the frame and fork is 2.2 pounds, basically. So very light.
Super light.
Yeah, compared to some of the other bikes that we carry on our site, like the Bianchi Specialissima, and we're just going to talk about frames here, not the fork. That one's going to be 750 grams. Tarmac SL8, which a lot of people know about, which would be similar, is 685 grams, so a little bit lighter. And then just to kind of give you an illustration of like the lightest, kind of most pingiest, lightweight climbing bikes, like the Athos, for example, the S-Works Athos, that frame comes in at 585 grams. So this is a super light bike, but there are lighter bikes out there, but that's not what this thing is totally prioritized to do. It is more aero than an Athos would be, and it's more compliant, more comfortable over long distances than an Athos would be.
And race legal.
And it's race legal without having to add a bunch of weight on there.
So it's lightweight, but how would you describe its frame characteristics when you're riding it?
So this is a climbing bike. It's not an all and out aerodynamic race machine, so it is a little bit taller in the stack, a little bit shorter in the reach, so it is nice and comfortable on flat roads, but then when you climb, it kind of really comes into its own, and it's really in your hands, and you can get out of the saddle and it feels really comfortable and stable and stuff like that. Also, the trail is a little bit longer on this bike as well, so it feels pretty stable climbing and descending. Another thing about this bike that's cool is it does have clearance for 34 millimeter tires, which is sort of the norm nowadays, but if we would have talked about a bike 5 years ago, maybe a 28 would have been the largest you could put in it. So it's kind of cool to see bikes going this way. You could put a 34 in there, and this could kind of be like an all-road bike for you. It's pretty versatile.
Nice to see Cervélo doing that for pretty much its whole lineup is big tire clearance.
Also, the other thing on the performance road category for Cervélo is they're going to integrate all the cables, so you don't see anything. There's no cables. That reduces the drag on the front end. It also just makes it look awesome, in my opinion, very clean.
Yep.
So I really like that about the bike as well. And then one last thing, the bottom bracket on this particular bike is BB right. So
press fit.
That is the press fit.
Yep.
Yeah. On some of the other models, not in the performance road, but let's say experiential category for Cervélo, they have threaded, but not on this one. They've kept BB right. That's kind of like what they've done for years and years, and that's kind of the best performance, not only for stiffness of the bottom bracket, but also for weight. And since this bike is supposed to be super light, they prioritized that and did the press fit. But I will say that I haven't had any issues with this press fit bottom bracket. I think they've really made it good, and it is pretty large, so there's a lot of surface area, and it doesn't seem to be a problem with any creaking or anything like that.
Yeah, I put thousands of miles on a Caledonia last year from Cervélo, and again, it was press fit and had 0 issues.
Yeah, and they've used that BB right for years, so it's not like a new standard for them. They've used it kind of since the company was founded. So
they're experts.
They're experts at doing it for sure. So what size does this bike come in?
Comes in 6 different sizes, ranging from a 48 to a 61. So riders from 4'11 to 6'5, you're covered there. What size were you on again?
54.
And how tall are you?
I am 5'9".
Okay. So.
Yeah, 5'9" with a 30-inch inseam, like when I buy pants and stuff. Like, I'm pretty much a 54 across Cervélo's line. I've had a lot of their bikes, and 54.
And on that one, what was the stack and reach numbers?
Yeah, so the stack on this bike is going to be 547 millimeters, and the reach is going to be 380 millimeters. So just to give you a little bit of a comparison, S5 is their top-of-the-line aerodynamic bike, and that is going to be 5 millimeters shorter, and it's going to be 4 millimeters longer. This bike.
Not a whole lot different.
Yeah, not a whole lot different. This is aggressive, but you can get more aggressive in a bike if you're looking for that.
Yeah. So what about color options? So we got the black one here. What if I want something a little bit spicier than that? What are my options?
Yeah, so this is the 5 black color that I mentioned earlier, and this one was designed to be the lightest option. So if you do want to prioritize weight and not looks maybe, then the 5 black, I still think it looks pretty good, but it is their lightest paint configuration.
Yeah, usually matte paints are lighter, so
Yeah,
it makes
definitely.
sense.
Yeah, and then they have 3 other options. They have a deep blue sunset, which is a pretty cool bike. One of our coworkers got that. I really liked it. They have the lime and black, and then they have the ox blood.
Nice.
Yeah.
All great options.
They're all really good options. The ox blood's actually a really cool deep red that I liked a lot too. So those are the colors. Those all come in the frame set. You can build those up. But John, can you kind of run us through the builds of this bike?
Yeah, for sure. So you can do the frame set, which we sell. With that, it'll come with the bars, stem, and seat post. So you have those things included with it, and that'll be looking at $5,500.
Yep.
So pretty on par with competition price-wise. Then we have an Ultegra built, and then a red.
There's basically just 2 price points for the package builds that come from the website, but they're all built up, race ready. I mean, you could ride those bikes, and any of the SRAM ones come with a power meter as well.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Shimano ones do not.
What did you like about it?
Yeah, I like everything about this bike. I love Di2. I mean, I've run Red Axis and really like that as well, but I really like the shifting. That's great on this particular bike. Also, the handlebars felt really comfortable. I liked those too, so the bars that actually come with it are really nice, and that's great because it's recommended that you run those with the stem. And I also just like the way this bike climbs. It's just a great climbing bike. It's awesome.
So would you go with the Dura-Ace, get that a little bit extra lightweightness? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, if you were, if that's what you were going for, I mean, it's a pretty big jump to go to Dura-Ace. It's another $4,000. So this Ultegra build is actually great. And
Yeah.
I mean, you could go to the Dura-Ace, but as far as like shifting performance goes, it's basically the same. But it would be a little more lightweight. So if you are climbing all the time, or you have big mountains, or you do live here in Salt Lake City like we do, and we're climbing canyons all the time, then yeah, that's probably pretty good option to do that.
So let's dive into how it rides. Speaking of like riding canyons, did you ride some canyons on it? What do you think?
Yeah, I rode some climbs on it, rode some canyons on it, and it's great. It's great once you hit the mouth of the canyon, you just settle into your rhythm. It climbs really well when you do that. But where the bike really shines is when you're gonna go put power down, you're gonna attack. That's where the bike really comes into its own and really shows you that it's a climbing bike. I mean, all of the power that you put into the pedals just jumps up the hill. It's an incredible climbing bike. That's what it's made for, and it does a really good job of it.
Doesn't feel too noodly.
No, it doesn't feel noodly at all. And it feels comfortable too. I mean, I know that we've talked about this before on this channel, but the roads around here aren't all that good. We have the freeze and thaw cycles, and the pavement gets pretty messed up. And I have experienced climbing bikes in the past being, I call it pingy, where it kind of like rattles your teeth out. And this bike does not do that, which was kind of surprising to me, because I thought with the way that it did climb and the responsiveness that it had, that it really would, like I would feel every rock or every single crack in the road, and I didn't. It was really nice.
Really
And
did a
I
good
think
job.
the wider tire clearance and having a little bit bigger tires, running at a little lower pressure is really nice.
Yeah, I think they probably built in a lot of compliance in that seat post area. And then the seat post itself, it's D-shaped, but I think they engineered it around being compliant. What happens when you get to the top and you want to go down? How does it descend?
This is, I mean, climbing for me is like not really my thing. I mean, I can do it, but I don't love it. But when I get to the top of the hill and I'm going down, that's my treat. So I want to go fast. And I think people call me a prolific descender. It is an amazing descender. Like, I don't know what it is. It's probably just the stiffness in the head tube and the bottom bracket. But when you really put like your weight on that pedal and you kind of like put your weight on the head tube, like it doesn't wander in the corner at all. It's amazing. And I've hit some like really tight corners. I hit some sweeping corners, and it was great on all of that. I also hit some corners where there was some chatter in the road as well, and I could kind of feel it sort of moving over those bumps, and it still felt planted to the road. So it descended really, really well. I think the geometry has a lot to do with that as well. I have rode on some bikes that might have a little bit shorter trail or a little bit shorter chain stays, and it can feel a little bit too quick in the turns and almost like it's falling over itself, but this bike was perfect balance for descending, so loved it.
Did you feel like you're blowing around with the winds, or not so much because it has the shallower wheels and also just like the frame is not, aero as an aero bike? Do you feel like more confident in the descents because it is, because of those things?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are definitely some aero characteristics to this bike, swivel tubes, and the wheels are a little bit deeper as well. Yeah, when I hit the descents and there was a wind, a crosswind or something like that, no, it wasn't too bad. I have been on bikes before where it's felt like it's pulling my front wheel away from me or trying to like move me. I don't know if you've ever gone down Storm Mountain, but sometimes you go around there and it gets really, really windy, and it can be like, oh god, this is a little bit scary, but that didn't happen at all.
And you mentioned the comfort of it. Comes from tires and just the compliance. Overall, really comfortable bike, like you could do all day ride, no problem.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. It was surprising to me how comfortable and compliant it was.
Yeah, makes sense why it helped Jumbo win the Tour last year.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, they use multiple bikes. Cervélo doesn't take the same approach as some of the other brands where they have like one bike to do it all. That's like their GC bike. Jumbo was switching bikes depending on the stage. So I think that really speaks to the specificity of this particular bike.
Yeah, and the fact you need N+1.
Yeah, you need N+1. Yeah, more bikes the better.
Yeah. Who's this bike for?
Yeah, so this bike is for somebody that likes going uphill, likes climbing. I would say if this is what you prioritize in your rides, or this is what your rides are around you, then this bike is for you. If you're climbing, it's the R5.
Not the crit racer, not the Flatlander, not the Florida Cyclist.
Nope.
Not for that.
No. Yeah. I am from Florida, I guess, and that's where I started riding. And the R5 was not the first bike that I picked when I was there. Okay. But can it do that stuff? Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely do that stuff, but there's better bikes for riding on flats, better bikes for riding on the hills. There's better bikes if you want to try to go break away. There's better bikes for that. But if you want to attack on a climb, or you want to ride climbs all day long, R5's the bike for you.
Nice. All right, so you talk about how light this bike is. I think we should probably weigh it.
Yeah, we got to weigh this bike.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think it weighs?
15 pounds.
15 pounds. I'm going to go with a little more than that. I'm going to go with 15 pounds, 10 ounces.
All right, always going on the over. 16 pounds, 2 ounces, or 7.27 kilograms. So not that sub 7, but I think for the Dirt Race.
Yeah, with Dirt Race, you could definitely make this bike lighter, for sure.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, thanks for watching. That was our long-term review on the R5. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, and if you have any questions about the bike, you can leave it down in the comments as well, or you can reach out to one of our Gearheads. They can help you pick out the perfect size or the perfect build for you, or they can help you build up a frame set as well. Or if you want to buy a bike that's already complete on the site, but just change a little thing here or there, they can do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll see you out on the roads.
See you on the roads.